And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Mufasa's Daily Book Reading at Noon. My name is Mpho, and I am your reader for today. Remember, we are reading The Eighth Habit by Stephen R. Covey, and we're going to be reading from the 12th chapter today for 10 minutes. If you've missed any of our readings and would like to catch up or just listen to them again, you can find those on our YouTube channel. The link to our YouTube channel is in the description of today's live. You will also find there a link to our new program, right? The services as well, a services page on our Facebook page that will just detail out our wonderful program that we're running at the moment. And for any other coaching inquiries, you can just email us. The email is in today's live description, which is great. So today, the chapter is titled The Voice and Discipline of Execution, Aligning Goals as Systems for Results. I trust actually that this is going to be a very interesting 10-minute read. I trust that you're also well and that you had a wonderful weekend. My timer is set and let me start reading to you. Awesome. No horse gets anywhere until he is harnessed. No steam or gas ever drives anything until it is confined. No Niagara is ever turned into light and power until it is tunneled. No life ever grows great until it's focused, dedicated, and disciplined. That is a quote by Henry Emerson Fosdick. Myth. You can train and reward independence and expect people to act cooperatively and interdependently. Reality. It's like trying to play tennis with a golf club or having an analog mind in a digital world. Organizational structures and systems that encourage and reward independence and competition produce an independent culture. Water what you want to grow. When you train for and reward cooperation and interdependence, you get excuse me, you get independent behavior. The first alternative to aligning role of leadership would be to believe that the personal modeling of an individual is sufficient to keep an organization on a path of healthy growth. The second alternative would be to believe that by continuously communicating the vision and strategy you've carefully and intentionally developed, you will be able to achieve your goals as an organization. Structures and systems are of secondary importance. The third alternative would be to one, use both personal moral authority and formal authority to create systems that will formalize or institutionalize your strategy and the principles embodied in your shared vision and values. Two is to create cascading goals throughout the organizations that are aligned with your shared vision, values, and strategic priorities. And three, adjust and align yourself to regular feedback you receive from the marketplace and organization on how well you are meeting needs and delivering value, which is one of the systems. If you say you value cooperation and reward cooperation, not competition, if you say you value all stakeholders, you regularly gather information on all stakeholders and use it for realigning, you water what you want to grow. Modeling principles centered living and leadership creates and inspires trust. Pathfinding creates shared vision and order without demanding them. But now the crucial question becomes, how do we execute both values and strategy consistently without relying on the formal leader continuing presence to keep everyone going in the right direction? The answer is alignment. designing and executing systems and structures that reinforce the core values and highest strategic priorities of the organization selected in the pathfinding process. We did read about pathfinding in one of our readings, so you'll have access to that on our YouTube channel. Consider the current structures, systems, and processes in your organization. Do they enable people to execute top priorities, or do they create roadblocks to doing so? Are they consistent with the organization's espoused values? Is it the responsibility of leaders to remove obstacles, not create them? Yet, the process of alignment requires a deep and humble examination of self and many sacred cow organizational systems and structures. Organizational trustworthiness. As mentioned earlier, the organization is the second major source of trust. When trustworthy people work within structures and systems that are not aligned with the organization's espoused values, the untrustworthy systems will dominate every time. You simply won't have trust. Through tradition and cultural expectations, these systems and processes become so deeply embedded in the organization that they are far more difficult to change than individual behavior. For instance, almost all organizations espouse the importance of teamwork and cooperation, but they have deeply embedded systems that reward internal competition. I often tell the story of how I once worked with a company that had no spirit of cooperation. The CEO couldn't understand why his people couldn't cooperate. He had preached it, trained for it, psyched people up about it, but still, no cooperation. While we were talking, I managed to glance up behind the CEO's desk and saw a curtain that had accidentally been left open. Behind the curtain was a mock horse race. Lined up on the left hand side were all the horses. An overall picture of each manager's face was pasted on the front of each horse. On the right side hung a travel poster of Bermuda showing a romantic couple walking hand in hand down a white sandy beach. Now, imagine the misalignment here. Come on, let's work together, let's cooperate. You'll make more, you'll do better, you'll be happier, you'll enjoy it more. Then pull the curtain. Which one of you is going to win the trip to Bermuda? He again asked me, why won't they cooperate? Systems will override rhetoric every day of the week. One of the great insights of Edward Deming was that over 90% of all organizational problems are systemic. The problems arise because of systems or structures. They're not what he called special caused or people caused. However, in the last analysis, people are the programmers and systems are the programs. People are ultimately responsible for those systems. Systems and structures are things. They are programs. They have no freedom to choose. So the leadership still comes from people. People design systems, and all organizations get the results they are designed and aligned to get. Many honest people are incompetent when it comes to designing organizational systems. And likewise, some competent people are dishonest and delicious. But organizational trustworthiness requires both organizational character and organizational competence. Simply put, alignment is institutionalized trustworthiness. This means that the very principles that people have built into their value system are the basis for designing structures, systems, and processes. Even if the environment, market conditions, and people change, the principles do not. It is described well in the language of the architect. Form follows function. In other words, structure follows purpose. Alignment follows pathfinding. Discipline is manifest both personally and organizationally. In the organizational context, discipline is called aligning because you are creating or aligning your structures, your systems, processes, and culture to enable the vision to be realized. Beware of synergistic decision making and stovepipe execution. If the value system focuses on the long term as well as the short term, then the information system should focus on both long term and short term. If the value systems hold cooperation and synergy supreme, then the compensation system should reward cooperation and synergy. This doesn't mean that individual effort and performance should not be recognized and rewarded also. For instance, the size of the compensation pie may be based upon cooperation and synergy, but a particular individual's piece of that pie would be based upon individual effort within the complementary team, thus nurturing both interdependence and independence. Many organizational many organizations fall into the trap of rewarding only individual effort at the expense of cooperative effort. Little more than lip service. The value of cooperation is not built into the recognition and reward system. Since everybody is operating on their own agenda, people go along with the compensation system that reward individual effort. Even if serving the customer at the optimal level requires teamwork, that teamwork will not happen and the results will be failure in the marketplace. It's not that people do not want to cooperate. It's the system rewards and is the it's that the system rewards individual effort or internal competition. Again, remember that systems will overwhelm rhetoric or good intentions at the end of the day. And that concludes our reading today. I hope you enjoyed this reading about cooperation and that we will cooperate and find ways to be more cooperative within our organizations. I have a wonderful comment here that's coming from Jacques. Great insight, he says. Systems and structure never replace the leadership of people. So true. Some leaders find people too unpredictable and challenging and cannot resist the temptation to pursue leadership by autopilot. That's so true. Cannot resist the temptation to pursue leadership by autopilot. And people are constantly changing every day. You can't even put yourself on autopilot. So, very good points. I love it. Remember, if you're watching this and the replay, to leave us a comment and also do subscribe to our YouTube channel. I will wonderfully see you on Friday. Enjoy the rest of your week. Goodbye.